Hey, yo, what's up, baby? Hey, yo, it's your boy TP, and welcome to Quarter 4. Yeah, remember I told you guys, if you look at the year, just 12 months, right? So if you break it down into quarters, every 3 months is another quarter. So we're in the last quarter of this year, October, November, December, and boom! Next year hits just like that, right? So the way you set this thing up is every quarter you make goals. And by the end of the fourth quarter, that's the year. So that means every quarter, if you make goals, every year you'll accomplish something. You see how easy that is to break down? So the whole thought process is reverse engineer. If you reverse engineer the thing, the goal, the idea that you have, and you say, okay, this is where I want to get to, you break it into smaller steps, and guess what? That's how you start getting towards something. So I want you guys to really focus on the goal, right? What goal do you have for yourself? What dream, what vision, where do you see yourself? All right, listen, they tell me I don't give people a lot of time to do it, so I'm going to give you literally 10 seconds. Ready? Close your eyes. Where do you see yourself? What's the vision? What's the goal? What's the dream? After you graduate, 2 years from now, in high school, in college, what's the goal? All right, you got it? Listen, if you don't got your goal, you don't have your dream, you still got plenty of time to think about it. You still have time, right? That's the good news. The bad news is, if you don't get on it, guess what? You'll start putting it off. And you'll keep putting it off. And you'll keep putting it off. So at some point, maybe right now, today, before you go to sleep, say to yourself, yo, I need to know what my dream is. Like, yeah, I need to have a goal for my life. Like, yo, I need to start putting together a plan so I can start accomplishing something. And I promise you, as soon as you start putting that plan, that thought, that idea together, guess what? You start grinding a little bit harder. You start having a little bit more of a purpose, a little bit more of a reason, right? You start doing things a little differently. And that's the goal, right? Because people that just take life as it comes, I promise you, if you don't have a plan for your life, somebody has a plan for you. And most people that have a plan are the people that pay. Guess what? People get paid every time somebody goes to jail. People get paid every time somebody goes to court. For real, I actually just learned this, but the funeral services and the cemeteries, that's a big business. People are dying every day. So if you don't have a plan, guess what you're going to contribute to? Jail, death, unsuccessfulness, and listen, we're changing the narrative of all that, right? Because watch this. People be like, yo, TP, what do you mean by changing the narrative? Like, oh, you were a bad dad and now you're a good dad? Like, oh, you were a felon and now you're an entrepreneur? Like, oh, you lost your girlfriend and now you're married? Like, oh, you think you're better? Like, listen, it's not none of that. It's all of that. Like, it's all of that, right? Every single stereotype, every single box, every single narrative that this world creates for you, I promise you, you can change it, right? So yeah, my parents got divorced. Guess what? I'm changing that narrative. I'm married at, oh shoot, I messed up. I think 19. No, I got married at 22. So I got married at 22, and I promise you, if everything in my being, I don't want to get a divorce. I promise you, everything in my being, I know they say black men are bad dads. Black men are violent. I'm changing that narrative. Business owners are going to fail. I'm changing that narrative. If you go to jail, you go back. I'm changing that narrative. Like, it's all of that, right? So stop thinking it's one thing or it's two things. It's everything. You can change the narrative in your life right now, right? When your parents was in school, they didn't like it. Guess what? You don't got to like it, but you can still do good, right? Like, oh, your family didn't like to read. You can still read. Oh, you're not good at math. You can still act. Like, you can still do stuff. Just because you're not good at it doesn't mean you can't do it, right? And that brings me to my last principle, and this is the most important principle. And this is what I call a transfer of energy, right? Like Newton's law, just listen, I'm not a science major, but there are some things I learned in science. One thing they said, an object in motion stays in motion unless impeded by another object. I think I got that right. An object in motion stays in motion, right? So if you start something, you're more likely to continue to go with it, right? That motion. So what do I mean by transfer of energy? Watch this. I learned that when I was playing sports, I was dedicated to the grind, right? Like, yo, practice is one thing. We have practice every day or we have a game. But what do you do outside of practice, right? And this is just a metaphor. But if you play sports, listen, sports is like basketball, right? It was only, 2-3 months. But there's so much training, there's so much practice, there's so much film study, lifting weights, there's so much that goes into it. It's not just basketball, right? It becomes your life. Yo, I promise you, I learned how to take that energy and apply it to the business world, right? So the energy I put towards basketball, yeah, I love doing it. But guess what? I want it to be the best. Like, you weren't going to be better than me. So I was willing to do more than you would do. What does that mean? If we have practice from 3:30 to 5:30, well, after practice, I'm going to go lift. I'm going to wake up in the morning and get some extra shots up. I'm going to make sure I watch film and talk to my coach and make sure I try to give myself an advantage, right? So watch this. It's the same thing in this business. In speaking, in lawn care, in the nonprofit world, I want to be the best. Like, I'm competitive, right? Because if you don't want to be the best, that means you're going to be willing to just settle for whatever somebody gives you. And I'm not willing to settle, right? So check this out. This is how this is the mentality that I had. I said, okay, if I want to be the best, the grind I have for basketball, the grind I have for football, I got to put that in the school. The grind I have for basketball and football, I gotta put that in the business. The grind I have for basketball and football, I gotta put that into my relationship with my wife. The grind I gotta put my relationship with my daughter. Like that grind, that thing, that energy, that thought that you put towards the thing that you like to do, you have to be able to transfer that energy into the thing that you don't like to do, right? Because I promise you, how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you wanna be great, you can't tell me you wanna be great in football, you wanna be great in basketball, but then you're not great in school. Like you wanna be great in football, you want to be great in basketball, but you're not a great student. You're not a great kid. You're not a great son. You're not a great friend. How you do anything is how you do everything. So if you truly want to be great in this, guess what? Every single thing you do has to demonstrate greatness, right? So if I'm going to grind because I love sports, guess what? I'm going to grind because I love my wife. I'm going to grind because I love my daughter. I'm going to grind because I love this business. I'm going to grind because it's not something that I do, it's who I am, right? So as soon as you can figure out how to transfer that energy, I promise you, the word is yours. So then listen, that's 3 principles. And like I told you, yo, it's 4:15. The time is to stop. The time right now is to stop playing, right? Because the last time I checked, 14, 15, 16 people are dying at 18 years old, 17 years old, 16 years old. You can get charged as an adult for a crime as soon as you turn a teenager. You don't have to your 20s. You don't have to your 30s. Because the truth is, we might not make it to see it. So we got to start putting that plan together right now, today. And every day we start grinding towards it. Hey, yo, it's your boy TP. Welcome to 4:15. May the odds be ever in your favor.